Alright guys, Dirk the Red Panda here again with the Hayseed Knight. We are on, let me check, somewhere in chapter 2, I think, oh yeah, Adder was heading off to some sort of thing with Gyoff. Yeah, finally gonna see Gyoff again, hopefully. Missed that guy. But yeah, we're, I'd assume halfway through chapter 2. I don't really have much of a reference for it, but if it's like last chapter, I'm hoping to get this done in 3 episodes. I mean, not this episode, but I mean get chapter 2 done in 3 episodes, to clarify. But yeah, we've been kind of going through this kind of internal love triangle, not a very visible one, but yep, Aina and Seth both love Adder, and Adder is still dense as hell to it. Kinda. But we're gonna find out what happens right now with Adder. Long pauses.
All right, I don't know boss, why. That was the last push-up. I should get going now. Mr. Bard's playing tonight, and I'd better make sure he's not gonna drink our money. See you tomorrow!
I think the last time I looked up his, whatever lore about him or character description, wasn't he, terrible at instruments, but he could sing? I don't know. Just probably me. Adder headed off to the arc that led to Slander District. A set of steps started walking behind him.
Boss? Gotcha! Did I forget something?
Ina pointed to Adder, and then at herself.
You wanna come along?
Please do.
I don't know, boss. It's, stag night. We'll drink a lot, and then we'll talk about doughs. Yeah!
I feel people like that in college life. You're off talking about doughs. Now there's the biggest piece of fiction ever written. Needless to say, Ina remained very much unconvinced.
What about your dad? He'll be super mad when he finds out you're out drinking with me.
The merchant was essentially mad. The merchant was essentially mad every fraction of a second he spent alive. That wasn't a deterrent under any circumstance.
Don't you remember the last time we went to a tavern together, boss? You know, when you threw Mr. Bard out of a window, and then you just ran after him and left me alone to... Wait, was that the day...
Oh no. Whatever story Adder was about to tell disappeared completely from his mind. He bit the claw on his thumb, babbling to himself with that strange accent of his. Her boots didn't even make a sound as she shyly walked towards Adder. She grabbed his hand with her comparatively tiny fingers and looked up, awaiting a response.
Oh, boss, no, don't cry. I'm sorry, I didn't know you wanted to come along so bad. You can come with us. And if Mr. Bard's got anything to say about that, I'll take care of him.
The only thing I would say here is, I know, the art's getting changed, but yeah, I would definitely add, a crying sprite for that, because it just seems a bit awkward with the current sprite for that emotion. Yeah, but this would be fine right here for the post-cry. Ana's lip trembled as she struggled to keep a smirk away from her face.
You gotta swear over Baitat that you'll keep your butt on the seat and your arms crossed, no matter what. I don't want another guy slamming a chair against my noggin, got it?
Yep. Suspicious glares and mutters accompanied Ana and Adder all the way through Slander District until they ended up in their usual tavern, or rather, the closest thing to a tavern one could find in there. The lucky bastard, so called in honor of the owner's late husband, who was struck dead by a lightning bolt after walking out of a gambling house. I like that name. The three were clearly mad at him, though not quite as much as his wife. She'd surely made peace with the memory of him after finding his secret earnings and opening the tavern. If that doesn't give you a clear idea of the type of gents that frequented the establishment, suffice it to say that they let Gyoff play in it. Adder peeked in, looking with apprehension at the few deer scattered across the tavern. Anyone capable of ignoring the aberrations Gyoff played probably deserved to be there. A quick look back at Aina revealed her eagerness to quiet Gyoff using her fists. She noticed Adder's expression and quickly put her hands behind her back.
Hey, you promised you'd be quiet. You swore over Baghdad. He'll smite you.
Aina took a hand to her forehead and pretended to swoon. She actually miscalculated and fell on her butt. Smitten indeed.
I'm serious, boss. This is the only place that lets Mr. Bard play anymore. I can't get in trouble here. Good for me.
I want to see in the new animation, or not new animation, the new art style, to see like some puppy eyes matter for this. That'd be pretty awesome. I feel like I'm starting to just bring up a crap ton of suggestions, which should be my thing to do. And there went Aina's plan for the night. Everyone turned towards the duo as they walked into the bar, with faces that went from awe to eerie. The barkeep, upon noticing Adder, quickly rushed to his side.
There you are, Adder. Just the man I wanted to stab today. Go tell that asshat friend of yours to tune that stupid piece of...
Aina's eyes met the barkeep's. She paled. Aina smiled. Though Adder would have you believe otherwise, Aina storming off was hardly an uncommon event. It was, in fact, how most of her arguments with her father ended up, since she could not quite defend her own causes. Some strange events tended to occur concurrently. One night, an enormous hole appeared in one of the city walls. One day, the sun rose to reveal that Batat's statue was missing its 2-story tall sword. Most recently, someone removed all the pavement from the northeastern quarter of the central plaza. An extremely sharp dagger was the only clue the thief left behind. But of course, Adder didn't believe that his beloved boss had anything to do with any form of nocturnal vandalism.
Wait.
Probably.
You,
Oh, right. Ms. Barkeep, this is my boss, Aina.
Aina?
Aina tilted her head up slightly to let Adder pat her head affectionately. Still in such a cute position, she turned her eyes towards the barkeep in a killing glare.
Aina! Of course. I didn't know it was like that. Give me just a...
Mental breakdown ensues.
You bunch of twats better get your asses out of this place immediately! These two want some space!
Oof. There was no answer to the barkeep's order. Aina reached for the hammer on her back.
There's no need for that. We'll just try to fit in a corner or something.
Wait, that hammer kind of looks like... Is it just me or it kind of looks like the Super Smash Brothers hammer, where it's just like, you use that hammer and shit just goes wild? Can't do the Kirby music or whatever for it, like, the one that just goes like... I look so dumb trying to do this on audio. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, that's what it looks like. Adder took a deep breath as Aina placed the hammer back on her belt, sending just one last look of disappointment his way. Gyoff's barely cohesive poetry became clearer as they reached the back of the tavern, though the bard seemed too occupied with his performance to notice them yet. They managed to find an empty space where they could barely fit together, though their designated room on the floor became considerably bigger after Aina curled her lips at the deer around them.
You know the barkeep, boss?
Nope. No way. She had to be confusing Aina for some other green-haired albino that wandered from tavern to tavern once a moon, demanding a little tip in exchange for not raising the place to the ground. Easy mistake. Once seated, Aina called the barkeep with a deep, menacing growl. She rushed to their side immediately.
Yes, miss?
Aina pointed to a cup and raised 2 fingers. The barkeep clearly didn't need a translation, but Aina's request didn't seem to cheer Adder up as it should have.
I just won. I ain't got enough money, and I don't feel like drinking anyway.
But Aina felt like making him a drink, of course. She brought out a shiny Doru from Illigrab's gift, pointed to herself, and then to Adder.
Thanks, boss. But really, I don't wanna.
You will do as I say. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think Aina's thinking.
No thanks.
Don't do this, Adder. Don't do this, Adder. You're gonna get yourself kicked. Aina tried to push 2 coins into the barkeep's hand while Adder tried to pull her hand away quite fruitlessly.
Aina, we talked about this. You can't just go ordering me around after work, damn it. What if I don't want to go to your room?
Huh?
What the? You and me both. What? Both Aina and the barkeep looked at each other. Then they looked at Adder as he pursed his lips together. Oh, crap.
Get drunk. I mean, I want to get drunk.
Perfect description. Adder was already bringing himself enough shame, so Aina kindly overpaid the barkeep in a desperate action to make her go away. Once the barkeep left, she took one of Adder's hands and pulled it away from his eyes, trying to take a good look at his face. She would have had better luck looking for faces in the mold covering the walls.
Doth mine ears deceive me, or is that the tinkling of coins I hear?
You're back! You're back, Yoff! It's great to see you in your huge-ass hat. None other than Gyoff finally turned towards them with a very calculated nonchalantness, plucking the strings out of his perpetually out-of-tune ode. I think I pronounced that wrong. Aina pulled her ears down and sighed audibly. Ode. I don't know.
Goodness
I'm gonna move
gracious.
on before I mess it up.
If it isn't Ladder, accompanied by the petite patroness no less, of all the miserable taverns in this loathsome city.
They both knew that Gyoff had been expecting Adder and had clearly seen them walk in. But why say hi like a normal person?
Evening, Mr. Bard.
I know what time of the day it is, thank you very much. I'm painfully sober yet. Or at least sober enough to recognize a moon in the sky and a lad eaten up by his misgivings when I see one. Aina, what did you tell Adder to make him wail like that? Oh, woe is me, so young and I'm turning hard of hearing. Speak up, dearie.
Aina's teeth gritted one against the other, loud enough for Adder to hear. They exchanged a very serious look, one that said, "Don't." A series of strangely precise grunts and gestures followed one another under the expectant attention of the bard. Afterward, they both looked at Adder until he finally relented.
She wants you to keel over and die.
Why? Is she too lazy to kill me herself? It was a question, not an invitation. But of course, that kind of subtlety doesn't fare so well around the likes of you.
Anna was considering how to best break Yoff's snout in a single strike, but Adder fulminated the bard with a look before Anna had so much a chance to grunt.
Cut me with the sword if thou must, but wound me not with the knives in thine eyes. Not you, Cabbage Head. I know you'll do both gladly.
Hey, stop picking on her!
Picking on her? Goading her a little counts as a provocation now? 'Tis but a jest between old friends. Very old friends. Aina knows it, doesn't she? Doesn't she?
I said stop that, bard!
Me? She's the one that casually throws people out of windows!
Still salty.
That's 'cause y'all make her mad.
Guards! Guards! Yes, see, my friend broke a buck's spine, but that's okay, because she was mad!
Adder was about to reply, but the barkeep finally arrived with 2 cups filled to the top, where she surely hadn't spit at all.
Just the thing to keep me goading.
Yoff grabbed one of the drinks before Anna had a chance to grab hers. She rose up from the seat, livid.
Wait. I'll pay you back for that one. Here, you can have mine instead.
Anna took a brief look at the edge of the cup. It was covered with foam, which meant that Adder had taken a sip. Which meant that his lips had been there. Which meant...
No, she can't have that one either. Aina's not old enough to drink. At least formally, And she's never getting older.
Oof. Just as Gyav was about to drink his cup, Aina snatched her drink back. She gulped the beer down.
I'd say I hope you choke on it, but you can't even do that.
Oh my god. What'd you think he meant? Anna proceeded to spit the drink all over Gyaf's face and then slammed the cup against the table, leaving a crater in the metal sheet. Gyaf dragged his hand down his face, trying to get some beer off his fur. He was trembling slightly, but laughing all the same.
All this time thinking you were a golem, and it turns out you're just a misshapen walking fountain.
I see him break. Once again, Sandra always does great with her animations, or not even the animations, but like the Rempe, like coding for animations. So subtle, but so good. Trying to get the pronunciation right because I just saw her tweet on how to pronounce Sandra, or I think I'm getting it kind of right. As long as it's not a... Well, I'm going to move on before I mess it up. You try not to mess up, you're going to mess things up. Life lesson.
Will you two stop acting like children?
Oh my goodness. Wow, finally yelled. The whole tavern stared at Adder's outburst. Once shame caught up to him, the roast sat down again, having a long sigh. Wait, is it the dough? The row? I don't know. Anna and the completely soaked Yoff looked at each other absolutely flabbergasted. They both understood.
Well, color me surprised. I must admit that being lectured in maturity by Mr. There's a beast in my pile of hay was the last thing I was expecting today. Indeed, this is no time to squabble. It's been forever and a half since we three last shared an evening together. And if it was about me, this would be the last. So I really need to know. What on the face of Dakna is wrong with you?
I'm fine.
You're as fine as muscular I am, my lad. Come on, you can surely tell your best friend about it.
Sorry, Bard. This is one of those things I can't tell anyone. Not even Aina.
Geoff's eyes and lips narrowed until they both formed a line. Though wounded, he attempted to smile once more.
We'll go with fine then. Look at her, I know you're positively fine, but you've been just a little quieter than usual. As in, not blowing my eardrums quiet. Why are you so fine?
I just have a lot on my mind right now.
Yes, I noticed you spend your nights moaning.
Okay, look. I'm worried about someone.
Oh no, is it gonna come out?
Worried? Oh boy, you're gonna go blind if you keep worrying so much.
Don't say that kind of stuff in front of Aina!
Why? Is she not the one for whomst thy heart weeps?
Oh
What?
no, is it gonna come out? Oh.
I'm going to give you the chance of your life here. Do you want to sleep with Aina?
Oh no, is this gonna be a choice we have? Adder got so flustered that he almost flipped the table. Aina suddenly lacked the dexterity to find any of her many weapons and the accuracy to wrap her hands around Geoff's neck.
Is that a yes?
They're both broken at this point.
It's a gazelle, okay?
And it came out. Adder immediately dunked his face into the drink. Geoff's jaw fell to the ground. Aina forgot how to breathe. The bard proceeded to spill the contents of a cup all over the plate, banging the table with a fist and laughing all over the top of his lungs. Aina's cheeks swelled up as she tried her best not to cackle.
Wait! All that melodrama! Just for some Barhad lass?
That's not what...
This couldn't be sweeter, oh you're a horn-eater. This poor hobo was so mistaken, you see. Thought he'd cry for a golem, but you're just too wholesome.
Stop with the golem thing! It's not about me being a horn eater or not. Something happened that night, and I'm worried about her.
Ah, yes. I'm sure a lot of things happened that night. Or didn't, from the look on your face. You know, there's not a face unbeknownst to this bard. So tell me which Zell has been touching your neck.
Leave me alone, Geoff.
Wow, touchy. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that you're a healthy deer with healthy obsessions that don't include lifelike dolls with a penchant for smithery. I'll leave you two friends to your business dinner.
Is he suggesting medieval sex dolls? I'm probably misreading that line, but lifelike dolls. Just imagine just like a pile of hay inside of like a bag or something like that. Here's your medieval sex doll. You just have some like medieval artist like painting on it or whatever, or Renaissance. I'm mixing up the times up so much. I am terrible at history, guys. But yeah, can't imagine. With that, Geoff got up from his seat. Instead of going back to playing his horrible songs, however, he headed to the back door, muttering things under his breath all the while. Aina's eyes finally drifted back to Adder. He turned red like a tomato.
Geoff, what a bard, am I right? He really said some crazy stuff. Sorry, boss. I need a moment.
Follow Geoff. Oh, is this from Aina's perspective? This is interesting. But why would Aina follow Gyoff? Like, that's the only thing I'm kind of, like, getting kind of twisted with. Like, I want to stay with Adder. Of course, Aina couldn't care less about Gyoff's problems or any requests for privacy. She was only concerned about Adder's well-being, and by well-being, I mean apparently questionable love life. Yep, definitely sounds like Aina's good choice. Adder looked her way again. Aina's lip trembled, but she managed to keep a straight face. She tapped the cup, trying to remind him that it was all there and that it was there. I'm sorry, and that she still very much wanted him to drink it.
Sorry, boss, but I really don't want it. Beer just doesn't taste the same anymore.
Aina's eyes were immediately drawn to the cup Adder pushed to her hands.
Have you ever tried wine, boss? Like actual grape wine? It's so good. It's even better than the mead we had back in the prairies.
Aina stared at the foam edge, and the foam stared back. Would she really get an indirect... No bad thoughts. Get out of here. Aina looked up again, somewhat startled. Her gaze locked with Adder's. Adder gasped, bracing himself for something. The boy leaned in closer, still fixing his eye on Aina's. She didn't understand what he was trying to do, but he was managing to look really dumb while at it. Is he gonna try and like stare gaze with Aina just to see if they're both stargazers?
I really thought I did the thing this time.
Gotta practice my craft on random people, like my boss. The thing? What thing? Eat horns? Horn eater?
Boss, what are you laughing about?
Aina shook her head vehemently. Got it. And then her face met the table.
Yeah. You already laughed at me more than enough when I tried to tell you.
Adder had tried to tell her. Wait, Adder had tried to tell her? When? Wait, it couldn't be. Could he possibly mean that one time at the fair? But all he did was talk about someone else's butt, face, and that someone else happened to be a gazelle. That wasn't serious. That wasn't a serious confession in any way. Aina was just ribbing him, and he denied it anyway. Aina considered how very much not at fault she was as she shifted awkwardly on her seat, making the bag of coins tinkle. Of course. Aina held the coin for Adder to see. Her eyebrow twitched a little.
You can't buy my forgiveness.
She flicked her fingers, revealing two shiny dorus. Dorus, okay. I'm gonna get this right and not butcher it.
Okay, maybe you can.
Well, very easily convinced. Two dorus. She opened her palm, revealing a few more coins, and then tapped on his forehead.
6 doors for my thoughts? I don't know. It's really too personal to...
The purse tinkled again when she eagerly slammed it against the table, almost breaking
You have
both.
to promise me that if I tell you, you won't laugh at me. For real, I'm serious now.
All that money and still making demands? Aina promised herself that she would at least make an attempt.
I'm a gaze reader.
Jazz hands. That's a sound I get for it. Oh, she knows. A what? Oh, never mind. As I say it, she doesn't. More jazz hands. An attempt was made.
Gotcha! Yep, that was a joke, and now I got your money. Bet you didn't see that coming.
Adder took his cup to his mouth, drowning his laughter in the drink. Incapable of controlling her strength anymore, Anna patted Adder's back, which made him drop the drink over himself.
Oh, not the cape, damn it! Oh, I just washed it last moon.
Adder lifted the hem of the fabric previously known as vest, trying to determine the extent of the damage, and revealing something that definitely wasn't beneath it before. What the hell? A bird? Anna reached out, attempting to touch the strange mark on Adder's chest. The boy recoiled immediately.
Boss, don't go touching me in weird places now. We're in public.
Title IX. But in Renaissance medieval times. Illigrab would have argued that touching him in weird places was just as bad in private, but Adder never quite minded Anna invading his personal space when no one was around to tell her father. It was, nevertheless, a very strange thing to say for a boy that kept stepping over the line and hugging his boss no matter the situation.
How am I ever gonna clean this?
Quite easily. All you have to do is rub the fabric with some distilled alcohol. Leaving it in salt water overnight could also do the trick. Believe me, I am an expert when it comes to getting liquor stains out of my clothes.
Oh man. Thanks for the tip.
Who is this guy? What appear out of nowhere, new character? Ask his name, cause I need to know how to pronounce it.
Anything else?
Indeed, I do. I could not help but notice that fine example of Bahang craftsmanship accompanying you. I am beyond impressed by its degree of autonomy. And just look at the expressiveness in its eyes. I could swear that I saw a tear in them.
Baron, what now? I don't know any gazelle. What are you going on about? Do we even know each other?
We absolutely do not. You may call me Berbeth if you must spend your breath discussing anything other than this beauty. Oh, look at that skin. Porcelain could never be so pearly.
Kick his ass. Kick his ass. Kick his ass.
Gods above! Is that alabaster?
Adder and Anna shared a confused look while Berbeth kept rambling. Or Barbeth? Hold on, I should probably go back and double check.
We absolutely do not. You may call me Berbeth if you must spend your breath discussing
Berbeth, okay.
Gods
Moving
above.
on. Alright, Berbeth. Alright, and Adder and Anna shared a confused look while Berbeth kept rambling.
Hitting on you?
I wonder. Please don't be this dense, Adder.
The almost total absence of a snout and that triangular nose shape do not seem to align with the heavily embellished idea of the Ayokay held throughout the rise of Persecurat. A fawn, perhaps? No, of course
I don't know.
not. Eyes so detailed, rounder shapes and a small mouth. Oh, look at that blush covering the nasal area and the cheeks.
Were you some
The very
expert?
expression of femininity. Oh, ho, ho. Undoubtedly unique.
Oh my god, is he gonna be some sort of fashion guy?
He's totally hitting on you.
That or he really likes his fashion. But probably the first.
Of course, the Safi may have had a twisted sense of humor, shaping their servants like us, but they had their own moral standards. My point is, I never expected to see a golem with female features. Could I somehow convince you to part with it? Oh, my tat! It even talks! How did you make it do that?
Oh no.
Ana's a she.
Yes, I said as much. Wait, what are those spikes between her teeth? Some sort of defense mechanism?
Oh my god, now Bearwith is really tense now. I thought Adder was being tense earlier. Bearwith pulled Ana's jaw open with his left hand, trying to get a closer look at her fangs. Luckily for all of the involved, Adder pulled Bearwith's hand away from Ana's mouth right as her jaw snapped close.
An automated shutdown function with a timer for protection in the inner workings of the artifact. Oh, how fascinating!
Oh my goodness, stop being so
What's your
dense.
problem? Don't go sticking your hands into people's mouths. That's gross.
Honestly, if somebody went up to me or my friend and did this, I would probably just like shove them away at this point. Like, this guy's probably gonna be up to no good if he's touching you like that.
I would never. You are talking about the golem, are you not?
Ana is not a golem.
Indeed, this is not a golem. This may very well be the golem. And I am very much willing to pay accordingly, I assure you. But to elevate it to the status of person.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna look up Golem just so I know about the differences between Ana and a Golem. Wow. Very limited. Lifelike puppets. Oh my god. Are you serious? Come on. Oh, I remember this. They were talking about it a long time ago and they just brought up golems at like the fair or something. Are you seriously that vain to compare somebody, like a real living creature, to a golem? Come on, Bearbeth. Be better than this.
What's wrong with you? Ana's a doe.
A female deer. I'm sorry.
Certain about that. I do believe I look more like a doe than she does. If you would be so kind as to ignore the pun.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid the subject, but since you brought it up, are you a buck or...
You could have been a fair deal subtler about asking that question. Yes, I file my claws for better accuracy, and yes, I lost my horns. But I am a man. You are no less a deer for having lost an eye, are you, sir?
I guess, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Burbith.
Bearbeth. Kept saying bear instead of
Worry
burr.
not, friend. Truly, it is not the individual to be blamed, but a society that places unnecessary emphasis on weaponry and traditions from an age of intellectual darkness.
Damn. With the progressive values.
I know, right? I get so much crap for having small horns. Like, what's wrong with them? I should be the only one worrying about my horns.
Break them societal standards. You gotta be better than this,
Indeed.
Society.
Isn't the practice of turning our antlers to bone as a rite of passage simply barbaric? Without it, we would be free of accidents such as the one that beset me, and your need to overcompensate for your size complex.
Literally is a size contest.
Wait, my what?
We're gonna move on, Adder. Both Adder and Bearbeth turned to look at Ana. They'd clearly forgotten about her.
Look at that face. Oh, I could almost swear it looks offended.
She, not it. I'm not saying that Aina looks like a doe. She is a doe, Mr. Burbeth. And I'll buy no doe with a father, not a builder.
Oh, by note. I'm thinking about those memes where it's like bone apple teeth or whatever, where it's like they totally botch it up on purpose. Those frustrate me so much, because I'm just such a grammar Nazi at times. The only type of Nazi it's kinda okay to be with now. Don't be any other Nazi. Aina's gaze shifted the other way upon hearing the word doe used to refer to her. She nodded anyway, not to leave Adder alone.
Well, it certainly isn't uncommon for an engineer to consider his magnum opus a child. It is, however, extremely unnerving, much like your complete ignorance towards the unique characteristics of your acquisition. The albino-like features we are accustomed to stem from the decay of their original paint. The root of her fur and beet red underpaint on this Aina's nose indicate that she was most likely done originally. I see the green dye is recent though. Copper dye, perhaps? A, bold choice. Certainly not one I would have made myself. With all due respect, sir, do you understand the kind of chemicals you're exposing your golem to?
Adder stood still. So very still, it would seem he had turned to stone. Then, the stone began moving. He got up very slowly, putting both hands on the table, until he was fully standing like the towering mass he was. God, I like this art. I wonder what it's gonna be like having to do this in the new style, but man. Always doing great with your art, Sandra.
You can call her my boss. You can call her my friend. There's a zillion things you can call her because she's all that and more. But might that help you if you call her my golem again?
Adder's scream almost sent Burbeth glasses flying. Panting and clenching teeth was not an expression befitting to a boy so sweet. Aina put her hand on Adder's arm. The boy stared at it for a moment before carefully shrinking back to his place on his seat.
Ahem. If your eyesight is as bad as I suspect it is, perhaps you should consider acquiring a monocle friend, or a relaxing cup of hemlock tea, both of which would do you much good. I am not sure as to how you stumbled upon her, but I am what you might consider an expert on the subject of Basaktarat as a whole, and I can tell you, this is a golem.
She's not!
Is too!
Is not!
Fine.
No,
I
don't
had
do
been
this.
told the rose seemed hard of hearing out of sheer stubbornness, but let no dear say I did not attempt to reason with you first. Prepare to be convinced, sir.
Burbeth's cape flew open. He drew a dagger with his left hand and pointed it at Adder. Seeing this, the barkeep rushed over to their
Stop
side.
that, you halfwit! They're gonna destroy the tavern!
Who? That fool!
With a knife. Yes, you got to get more knife control. Before even an inch of the tiny blade had been revealed, Adder started running. And even though Burbeth clearly didn't have any intention to pursue him, Adder kept running all the same.
No, not the sand fur, the beast!
Oh, not this again! Please, this is a golem! Honestly, are all you villains nearsighted?
Oh no. Aina glared at Burbeth with all her strength, but she promised not to cause a ruckus. All she could do was stand up to watch our brave buck immediately head in a panic to the other end of the room. A knight that ran in the opposite direction whenever he saw a pointy thing. Some knight that would be. Then again, Adder had said anything about that for months. The only one to ever mention it anymore was Gyoff. Of course, Adder had stopped talking about becoming a knight. He knew how ridiculous that sounded, and he probably realized at some point that what everyone knew. There was no hope for him. Once more, Ana had stayed behind. She had clung for dear life to the idea of a boy that had outgrown her, ridiculous as it sounded in that precise moment. Ana sighed to herself, finding the whole situation rather underwhelming. She didn't even react to Burbith's approach. The so-called golem expert cut a small gap in Ana's trouser leg.
Face the irrefutable proof. Look.
Oh no.
This.
Oh god,
Wait,
please don't.
Where are its joints? Maybe the other leg.
Oh,
no?
no.
Over there? How about
God. Oh god.
Oh, that is very anatomically correct.
Oh my god. Oof. Got him. Well. Oh. Man. Well, perhaps there still was hope for Adder.
I really don't know what to say. Part of me wants to yell something like, I expected better from you, son. But I'm all about standing up for the little guy. And you're all tiny to me, after all.
Wow. That scene. I feel like... yeah, good for Adder. But now for me to critique it technically. I'm sorry. But I had to like keep hitting enter for the fight, for like the punch and the fighting scene. Like, I thought like that would kind of come in one swift motion, like it'd be automatic. That kind of surprised me, so I don't know, just a nitpicky thing. Like I said, do you with it, but I'm being pretty stuck up, I'm sorry.
But against all evidence pointing to the contrary, Ana is very much not the little guy in any situation. Ever. And even if she was, you really should be a little wiser about who you pick fights with.
How's I supposed to know that asshole son of a beast was lord of whatever?
Hey, we don't use that language here.
I shouldn't call them pervs that don't respect the lady back in my town.
Making mothers the subject matter is not respecting ladies.
We respect women in this household.
Patron insults moms all the time.
And since when's that senile desert shrub a role model? What in the name of the Huts are you laughing about now?
Oh, she's in shock. Ana, let me go with her.
Oh no, you're not going anywhere. I keep my guards well behaved, and I expect no less from the citizens, Adder. Mindless violence is not the solution to your problems. I thought you knew this already.
Adder let his head rest against the bars that covered a small window in the door, making sure to give Ilgrub his meanest look.
Look, I'm sure this is all just some big misunderstanding. I know Burbith. This train of thought is a bit weird at times, sure, but he's not a bad kid. There has to be an explanation for this.
Wait, if you knew him... I feel like... I don't know. I bet it must have been like, you know, they never talked about Ana in the same time. But if he even, like, came up to the topic of that, I feel like Ilgrab's got to defend her before this even happens. Just like in conversation, like, oh, Ana? Yeah, like, you know, the porcelain looking doe? Yeah, she's, you know, she's not a golem. She's a doe. Something like that. I feel like, man, she's gotta have been brought up somehow if they both know Illigrab. And Burbeth is talking to Illigrab. And I'm making no sense about this, but it's an unfortunate sequence of events.
You ain't got nothing to...
I just have.
Kid, I can barely understand a word you're saying. You're gonna stay here thinking of what you've done until Burbeth wakes up. If he wakes up. Come on, Ada. It's time for you to go home.
Anna gave Illigrab a very meaningful look.
Fine. You can wait for him in the entrance. But I swear by Ayokay that I'll rake you across the coals if I find a single brick out of place at Addersall when I'm back. Are we clear?
Anna nodded eagerly. Illigrab gave her a dubious look, but he seemed to be in too much of a hurry to make sure she'd stay put. Break into Addersall, or actually keep a promise for once. Tough choice, tough choice. Why the hell not? Too bad Illigrab forgot to say anything about the cell's window. Anna took a brief look into the room from outside. To the city's guard's credit, the dungeon was actually considerably nicer than Gyoff's house, and definitely safer. No beast or Macador would find Adder here. Macador? It didn't take Anna much effort to bend those iron bars and sneak her little body in through the window.
Anna!
Oh no. Anna didn't waste a second. Adder. Oh my god, did I mispronounce Adder? Wow. Shoot, I am not awake. Adder didn't waste a second. He immediately threw his arms over Anna and began smothering her with half-incomprehensible cries that were most likely meant to be reassuring. They soon derailed into some sort of lecture.
I'm never going back to a tavern with you, boss.
Adder hugged her with a force that would have destroyed anyone else's ribcage for a good 10 minutes. But Anna didn't have the heart to stop him. When he finally pulled away, his nose was running and his face all
I'm so
wet.
glad to see you're okay. I was so scared when he pulled out a knife that... Wait, didn't Illigrab just tell you to stay out of here? Aww.
Oh no. Adder took a hand to his face, babbling about the trouble she was going to drag him into. And there it was, the strange mark again. Or that strange mark again. But now she could see it in all detail. A hand-shaped dark mark on Adder's chest. It was definitely not there last time she got a good look at Adder's chest. Of course, Adder noticed that she noticed.
Oh, what's this? Poison? Oh no, Burbeth must have cut me. It's a miracle I'm not dead.
Anna made it clear that he was about to be very dead if he didn't begin spilling the beans.
I really thought it was just a burn.
A hand-shaped burn? Adder didn't seem to be lying, but he clearly wasn't telling the truth either. Anna inspected the mark up close. Long, slim fingers and a small palm. It clearly couldn't belong to a deer. Lacking excuses to do so often as she'd like to, Anna put her hand on his chest just to be sure that it couldn't be one of her kind either. Which of course left one people and one girl.
Yep, it's just what you're thinking.
Anna's ears perked up immediately. Adder smiled tenderly in response.
I wasn't joking around when I said I could read minds, boss. I mean, it's not like I can hear your thoughts or anything yet, but I just sort of know. Just see, the gazelle I was talking about earlier, she taught me how to read eyes to know what others are thinking. That and a few other things.
Ana made her best attempt to not look at Adder like he'd grown another head, but it wasn't a very good attempt at all.
I know what I saw, boss. I swear I read her mind. But now when I call for her, she doesn't answer, and no matter how much I try, I haven't managed to use my powers ever since. Ugh, I feel like I'm going crazy here.
There, she meant to say, ruffling his brown hair. She meant it this time, however. Ana had no doubt that Adder had seen something, but that something was in his own mind. His nightmares would chase him out of his sleep and hide in every shadow. It's not that Ana thought him crazy, of course. He was just naive, anguished, and a little bit delusional. A couple of compliments and some suggestion, and the boy would have thought himself a Macadar. Ana could almost picture the scene. Some saucy gazelle with the gift of the gab, burning Sina root, convinced Adder that he had powers beyond his imagination just for a Doru and 3 setpas. Or setpas? Or setpas? Oh no, I'm mispronouncing everything. The rest of the evening was free of charge because of course it was. Ana put that bitter, absolutely not jealous train of thought aside for a moment. A burn? Why would he think it was a burn? No matter how much Ana waited and impatiently tapped her boot against the ground, Adder didn't say another word on the matter. A small smile appeared on his face after a while, heralding a story as it always did.
No, boss. There's only one reason I wanted that whole gaze reader business to be true. Guess why?
Ana's glare could have frozen the whole set.
Right. What I mean is that you gotta think of an answer. Oh, just let me prove I can do this.
Indulge him or refuse. Let's win him over. Fine. Why not? It couldn't possibly hurt.
Look me in the eye and don't move, okay? Think of something with all your strength, like you were putting your whole mind to it.
Ana shut her eyes for a moment, trying to think of her feelings, an insult. Do we want him to know our feelings at this point? Or do we want to diss him? This one's gonna be super petty. I feel like this one's gonna advance their relationship a lot more. Let's do it. Ana opened her eyes and nodded. Much to Adder's delight, he shoved his face right in front of hers and began staring at her with such intensity he could have burned a hole in her forehead. Minutes passed. Adder's face became more and more contorted every instant. His snout was wrinkled, his jaw was jutting out, and he was completely cross-eyed. Ana's thoughts clashed against each other as a mean smile spread across her face.
Doth thou not want for thy sweetheart to be as sweltering as me, thou bed server?
What the? Oh my god, Ana had a line. Nice. Adder's ears perked up as his eye focused on Ana again. The smith immediately took a step back. She hadn't even opened her mouth. He couldn't possibly have. In and Adder didn't have time to say another thing. A key began hitting and everything but the lock, marking the end of her visit.
Adder, please tell me you're still there!
Illigrab nearly slammed Adder's cell door open. He finally stopped saying Adder upon seeing said boy calmly sitting on the bench.
Hey there, lad. I have some good news and some bad news. Which do you want to hear first?
The bad?
The good news is that Burbeth is alive and well. He'll wake up soon. Bad news is, you and I are going to be taking a stroll to the marketplace.
Oh boy. Time to have a good talk with Illigrab.
Bad.
Are you familiar with the words attempted magnicide?
Nope, me neither.
Don't worry, I'll explain on the way. Up we go!
Hooray, we get to be with Illigrab.
What do you mean by public execution?
Oh dear God, no. No. We can't end it here. Hey there, this is the end for now, and thanks a lot for playing. Now, if you don't mind, may I steal just a minute of your time to take you to the credits? Yes. You deserve to have your credits seen. While I'm the sole developer, artist, and writer of this game, there are a lot of amazing people that help make this visual novel in different ways. Oh, that's so cool. You got the French translation by somebody else? Please check them out, and you enjoyed this. Yeah, please check them out, and if you enjoyed this demo, consider supporting our Patreon so I can continue working on the Hayseed Knight. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so Benjamin Bazayets, Sandra did the Spanish translation. Chapter 2 intro. Keyframes, Pity Indie. Color. Oh, cool. Oh, no. No! Ah! I meant to stay. Can I get to the credits again? Okay, we're at the credits. Whew. Okay. Color, Sandra. Voice direction, Sandra. Cool. Voice acting. Oh no, did I break it? Alright. Adder, Belshebir, Rusape, Goff, Joe, Goff, and me. Really creative with the name. I like it. Seth is Melody Muse. Travis Lindsay for Illigrab. God bless you, Travis. And this is Burbeth. Alright. Sandra's Ana. With that one full line. And many grunts. Elbar. Wait, did we see Elbar? I don't think we saw Elbar. Maybe that just depends on the route. Because I think Elbar is somebody else. Okay, Barkeep, Kim, Wenchburn. Yeah, I'm not gonna... Oh, fine. I read everybody else's. Everybody deserves to get their name read. Alright. Barkeep is Kim Gassiel. Zhao is Andrea Sans. Wench is Burn and... Wait, Aniceto. Man, I totally blanked out there. Young Guard, Griffin Puato. Old Guard, D. Tyler Foltz. Extra Merchant, Kenneth Faircloth. Apprentice, Brandon Acosta. Mob, Tatiana Stapleton. I think the person I skipped was Burbeth. It was Tim Lewis. And yeah, the music. Everybody else is down here. Yeah, it's a lot of names. But here, I'm just gonna hold it here for a second. This is the conclusion of the Hayseed Knight up to this date. Once chapter 3 comes in and that's all finished, I'll be coming back to that. But yeah, for now, this is all we got for now. Trying to get down to the special thanks, get everybody shown. Shoot. Hopefully you guys had enough time to see the music, effects, special thanks. Yeah, there we go. That's everything else. But yeah, this is everything. This is the Hayseed Knight. It's pretty good. I feel like there's a lot more that's got unfold through these chapters. It started to get pretty good with chapter 2. Like I got pretty nervous thinking that since it's supposed to be non-linear, that my decisions would be like super drastic, like, oh my goodness, things are gonna go crazy, we're gonna throw ourselves into a war or something. But no, it's still pretty tame so far. I don't think we're a lost cause yet. Just a public execution. But yeah, had a pretty good time playing Hayseed Knight. Thanks so much, Sandra, for this, and for, you know, shouting me out and, you know, replying to my comments and stuff on Twitter. You're really awesome at that. And yeah, I wish you the best with these upcoming chapters, and I can't wait to play them. And that is all I have. This recording's been over an hour, but I might split this into 2 parts so you guys don't get too tired of this or too bored of it. Or, I don't know. Is this boring? I thought this was entertaining. But whether or not I split into 2 parts, either way you're getting it this weekend. That is all. And once again, take care, guys.